So, a few months ago, my roommate Jake and I decided our living room needed some life, so we bought a fern from the hardware store. You know, the kind that looks like it could double as a wig for a Victorian ghost. Jake, being the philosophy major that he is, immediately dubbed it Fernando and insisted we treat it with respect. I figured this was just his usual way of making everything weirdly deep. Last week he gave a eulogy for a dropped mug, but whatever, if the fern wanted to watch reruns of The Office with us, who was I to say no? Things started to get strange when Jake began talking to Fernando more than he talked to me. At first, it was just the usual, "Hey buddy, how's your day?" But pretty soon, I'd catch him in heated debates about the ethics of sunlight distribution and whether misting was an act of love or oppression. I came home one night to find Jake sitting across from Fernando, holding 2 mugs of tea, explaining the concept of roommate responsibilities. I didn't think much of it until he taped a tiny eviction notice to the pot. The next day, Jake was in a full-on argument with Fernando about rent. "Photosynthesis isn't a job, Fernando," he yelled, waving an electric bill in the air. "You can't just sit there, sucking up my oxygen and not contribute." I tried to intervene, but Jake insisted that if Fernando wanted to live under this roof, he had to chip in. I suggested maybe Fernando could at least help with the Wi-Fi password, but Jake said ferns don't believe in technology. 2 days later, Jake moved out, saying he couldn't live with someone who refused to even Venmo him for utilities. So now it's just me and Fernando. He's quiet, doesn't eat my leftovers, and honestly, he's the best roommate I've ever had, except he still hasn't paid a dime in rent. I guess you could say, when it comes to splitting the bills, this fern is strictly a platonic partner.